Welcome to Cage Minds. I'm Micah Frankel. And of course, today it's not safe to go into the water. There's a shark attack coming. Zach Calmus again joins us. Sir, how you doing?
Doing wonderful. Thanks for having me on the show. It's an honor as always. I appreciate it.
A lot of things to talk about with you today. Congratulations. Recently heard there's another contract in play. So a longer extension here with BKFC.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're gonna keep me around for a while. Keep the shark fed.
What do you feel this multi-fight deal that you signed signifies?
Just signifies, it's my second multi-fight deal that I've signed. So it just fortifies their belief in me, and my hard work is being noticed, and it's says everything about who I am.
Like, what does that mean to you that they have this faith in you and that they are building something with what you're doing?
Oh, it's just a combination of, hard days in the gym, early mornings, late nights, everything that you hear champions talk about. It's everything that if you're a fighter and you're on the big stage that you want to be that guy. This is the guy that we all work to be. So I'm in a position that's God blessed and that I worked very hard to be in, and I continue to work hard to stay in that position. So it's not like once you make it here, to big venues, Mohegan Sun, Scope Arena, Sturgis. Like when you make it to these venues, that's when the hard work gets even more. It gets even harder. So that's the truth.
You have a moment though when the pen is in your hand and you have a moment of this means something to you. Like, is there an appreciation? Are you able to like soak it in for a second? Because I know there's all the work before and after, but are you able to like appreciate the accomplishment yourself?
100% yes, but it's a matter of when you take the time to appreciate those accomplishments and those things. And, you can't sit there and dwell on it too much, because if you do that, you dwell on a win too much, you get stuck in that mindset and then you lose very easily. So one thing is I never let the loss not break me down too much, and I never let a win build me up too much. Because at the end of the day, a smart man told me no matter whether we win or lose, we're right back here after. And what he meant was we're right back to our home, to our life. So we got to make sure that's good, so that when we fight, we come back and we're still happy. That's kind of the recipe for me. Is my life is great and my fighting life is great. So there you go. I don't have one. I'm not shooting for one and leaving the other not thinking about it. I'm trying to keep everything balanced in an unbalanced world, which is hard. Everybody thinks it's easy. Everybody knows it's hard though. Everybody talks like it's easy, but everybody knows it's hard to balance your family, your friends, your career, and then other stuff. Factor in personal losses, things that happen. The out of your control. Um, you know, it's definitely difficult.
That's a big concept that you're talking about right there, that balance. And how long did it really take you to understand that and be able to live by it? Because I can't imagine that a young fighter, you have to go through those things. You have to learn and feel that balance is needed.
Yeah, I think loss is not necessarily losing a fight. Um, I think I think loss in life will teach you valuable lessons. So when you do gain or when you do win, whatever your whatever winning means to somebody, they know how to handle it. That's been my biggest blessing, is just handling my blessings and well. So when something happens that's not good, I'm able to handle that too. You know,
Hasn't always been the smoothest of waters for you. We've talked about it before, the dyslexia, a lot of things growing up. Does that kind of help learning how to balance the high and the low when you kind of have to go through the mud so much?
well, I'm not dyslexic. I got obsessive compulsive disorder, so I do things sometimes two or three times. Well, two or four times. Multiples of two. It bothers me. It's a small thing, but it's a big thing. But it's all about the way you use it, like the highs and lows in life. It's all about the way you use that energy, I want to think, I like to think that me going through all the stuff I've been through in my life was just training for me to get to where I'm at now. Because I've experienced a lot of the same things that, totally threw me for a loop as a teenager or a young man. I've experienced those things in my late 20s and my early 30s in this career. And it wasn't nothing. I literally didn't even hear it. It was like I didn't even hear it. I just walked by. It was nothing. So you gain strength through struggle. I think that's what I always come back to.
You've gained a lot of strength to struggle. And right now, we're seeing some of the benefits of the hard work pay off, especially with your performances recently in the ring. It's a 4 fight win streak for BKFC. And we talked about the new contract. When they call you up after the new contract and they say, hey, the next assignment, KnuckleMania 5, how does Philadelphia sound in front of what's going to be nearly 18,000 people? We know you did Sturgis, but what is it like getting called back for KnuckleMania?
I'm a soldier, and this is what I do and what I was born to do. It's my destiny, and I'm very good at fist fighting. I have understanding of how a fist fight works. You know what I mean? There's a way to do it. There's a way not to. You can say whatever you want. Yeah, any guy could get lucky, but I'm training for this sport. And I've made it my whole entire life. So I worked very hard this camp. I didn't really stop training after Sturgis. After that, quick disposal of my opponent, I just went right back to work. I'm my biggest critic. Even in that quick fight, there were things that I did wrong and that I paid for. That it didn't show, but he landed a few punches. I didn't know it didn't affect me, but I don't feel as though he should have landed any punches. So there were things I did wrong, and there's ways of being super aggressive in bare knuckle and not taking damage. You know what I mean? You're seeing guys like do that. So I'm trying to take it to that level, and I'm gaining experience, and I'm young in this sport. That's God's blessing. It came around when I was in my end of my 20s. Now I'm 33, so I'm still young. I got time, and I'm fighting like I don't have time.
How do you get back in the gym and start to work on those techniques? Like you said, wanting to steep cleaner, but be aggressive still. How do you smartly work on those?
So, like I said about the ego thing, about not letting it get out of whack, lower or higher, I just kind of try to keep it even keel because, like, even in that big win in Sturgis, the 1,000th fight, and one round, there's still things that I saw that I could work on. So by that humble mindset, I still was able to see where I made mistakes, and then I was able to go back. Even if there were two little things, that could be 40 seconds off that win, and then I got it even easier and more convincing. Less time in the ring is less time where I can get hurt.
Wins are just getting faster and faster. You had a couple that went into the third round, the second round. Now you get the first round finish. Was that an improvement to you, or was there enough in there that you didn't like that you still weren't satisfied with getting the job done faster?
Oh, it's a big improvement on the way that we finished. That the last punches that landed, that did the damage. That's exactly what we worked on for that opponent. And I'll tell you right now that the different punches for this opponent, or not. You know what I mean? It's whatever is going to be there. That's what makes me a good fighter. I was prepared to beat Ryan Shaw with an overhand and a left hook. That's the way I saw it going. Just his body style and watching the tape. Um, it might end the same way with this opponent. It might not. I might try and do something else. To be honest with you, I don't fight any one guy the same. If you watch my fights, I've adapted for each opponent. I'm very, very, very experienced in watching tape. I played sports in high school. I played football, hockey, and lacrosse. I've been fighting now professionally, and I fought amateur for over 10 years, USA boxing. So it's like I watch a lot of tape. Any footage that I can get now, I know how to break it down. And when I see chinks in their armor, that's exactly how I finish them, is from the tape. I usually know I can win or lose from the tape. And then once I see the tape on the guy, then that's just a matter of how hard I work in the gym. You know what I mean? If I put in the work to beat him, then I'll win. It's not a matter of that because I have the knowledge. I watch all these guys and I fight them. So if I know how they fight, how am I going to lose?
I've talked to a lot of people that their philosophy is just more inward. I'm going to go become the best fighter I can be, and then my opponent has to deal with that shit. You're taking the philosophy of using this tape study and familiarizing yourself with your opponent. What have you felt about that kind of pathway and trajectory has benefited you in your preparation?
I love that question because it just shows my evolution in the sport. When I first come into bare knuckle, I wasn't really watching tape on guys, and I even bragged about that. I didn't start watching tape until after I fought Juan Torres. And when I fought Juan Torres, I lost that fight, and I can clearly see where I lost that fight on points and damage that I took, whatever way you see it. And I had to make the corrections after that. I worked super hard physically. I trained my butt off, like we talked about. I trained to be the best I could be, and I think I was in phenomenal shape for that Louisiana fight, like about almost 3 years ago this fall. But my point is that I just didn't. I wasn't watching tape, and I should have, because right after that, I got my first knockout, and I watched tape on that guy on Fernier. I watched tape. That was the first knockout of my career, so that made a big difference. Right away, I started knocking guys out when I could watch the tape and pick up on their trends. And if I could see them live, that was even better. So it's like I got to after that, I had some time off. I come back in Manassas. When I fought in Manassas, I got to watch Ryan Cho fight. The guy that I fought in Sturgis fought on Manassas. So I watched it. I watched it closely. And after watching it, I knew that I would fight him and I might beat him. I knew how I could beat him. So that's kind of when that started. And then, every guy that I could get tape on after that Scope Arena, I watched intently, and I took what I learned from football and hockey and lacrosse, and I translated that into boxing. I started watching fights that I was in and fighters that I was gonna fight and fights versus them versus other guys. You know what I mean?
In the times I've talked to you, I don't think I've ever heard you bring up lacrosse and football. It's always been boxing and your time in the gym. What was that first sport passion?
Well, I always liked fighting. I was in karate as a kid. And I was really young, like, middle school and after I was doing karate. I wanted to be like Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. I love that kung fu. Hi-ya! That was my thing.
So then in high school, we had other athletics.
Yeah, I started playing lacrosse at the end of middle school. Um, and I don't know, I just liked it. I liked it. You have a big stick and you can hit kids with it. I just thought, you're legally letting me hit a kid with a lead pole. What sport is this? I didn't think it was, I thought it was insane. I'm in the seventh grade smashing kids with a stick and it's legal. So I was had a lot of fun with lacrosse. You know what I mean? People, I think it's funny. People get a stigma about lacrosse players that they're a little, they're not that tough. Or it's a skill sport, okay? But it's hard. It's hard. It's really hard on the body. And bro, trust me, if you line somebody up, light padding, you truck that dude. You're allowed to check people. So it's kind of like, to me, it was like hockey on feet. And I liked it. I like lacrosse.
That is some just ridiculous next level hand-eye coordination. Anytime I see like the Sports Center top 10 highlights from the Pro League where they make a fancy goal, I'm like, how do you keep track of such a little ball in such a big area and then catching it with a little net? It looks ridiculous to me.
Yeah, I ended up playing all these positions. I played goaltender in lacrosse a lot. I played keep, and I played, by the end of high school, I ran so fast. I was a long pole midi. So that I was like the fastest kid on the team. They would just put me in for the face off or whatever, and I try and get it. If I get it up upfield, then I'd come off. It was just a sprinter, a big motherfucking sprinter who no one could stop. You know what I mean? I played defense too with the long pole. That was fun, but lacrosse wasn't my love. I was just all right at it in middle school, high school. I was all right at it. I wasn't an all star or anything, but I was good. Hockey wasn't really my thing. I only like to get in fights. I was badly behaved on basically every hockey team that I ever played on. Okay. I started hockey on a team with like 12 scraggly kids at a private school in Marlborough, Mass. And I was there in eighth grade and I was playing at the New England Sports Center. So it's an impressive hockey facility, but we were just like, we were a ragtag group of kids playing. We had like eight, we had enough for like a line and a half.
Oh wow. And you're the biggest kid out there, so you're the enforcer and on both lines.
I was playing goaltender. That's where I started playing goaltender. And I ended up playing like a couple years on JV in high school. And then I kind of fizzled out of hockey. That was done for me. But mainly because I'm only really good at one thing. I was in football. I used to truck kids, get mad, and then start getting a fight. Like I will fight my own team because I'm not a team player. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say that I'm a great team player. You know what I mean? I'm not.
The lacrosse part to me, it speaks to a lot again, that hand-eye coordination and your ability to analyze on the fly. If you're playing goalie, you're noticing the little idiosyncrasies before a shot's going to come because you're looking at how the puck's moving. I feel like that transitions a lot over to the fighting.
100%. I can telegraph a shot still. Like if I play pickup hockey and they have pads, I'm gonna play goaltender. Like I can still play. I can still play keep on ice. Is what I'm telling you. Like so, yeah. I can still play goalie. That has transitioned a lot in my fighting, and it's funny because I didn't realize how much it was going to when I first started. I was like, "This is a new sport I'm taking on," but every sport, if you break it down, it's just fighting. Really, if you break down any sport, it's fighting. It's a base root of it. So me, when I see a right hand, if they wind it up, I'm telegraphing it like it's a shot. I've stopped one timers in front of the net 5 hole, so I know I can slip a punch if I transition that knowledge. So yeah, growing up, playing hockey, lacrosse, football, and being disabled. I played lacrosse like heavy. My mom would send me to summer camp for lacrosse, where I'd like stay at a fucking college with a bunch of high level players for a week, and we do drills for like 8 9 hours a day, scrimmages. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was really playing to go to college and play, but
Sometimes it just works out a little bit differently. And obviously, this is working out for you great. The big fights keep coming. When you get the name and it's Pat Brady, what did you think of the opportunity?
I was pumped up because Pat talked to me about the fight at Mohegan that he would love to match up and he thinks we'd have a great fight. I just told him, like I tell every guy, I'm down. It sounds like a good idea. Let's set something up or see what happens in the future.
Was he somebody that you were familiar with before he introduced himself to you?
Because he fought on the Mohegan Sun card right before me. Um, right before I fought Mohegan Sun, he fought the fight before. So yeah, I was familiar with him when I saw the matchup. When I saw the Mohegan Sun card, I looked him up because he was fighting a guy that I was gonna fight at one point. It just didn't end up working out. But yeah, he fought Lewis Rumsey, and at one point I was lined up to maybe fight Lewis Rumsey, and something happened where he ended up with something else going on or whatever it was. It didn't happen. So he was fighting Lewis Rumsey, and I was interested to see that because Rumsey's a vet. He's been around since the beginning, I believe, BKFC one. So I just got a lot of respect for the guy. If you're gonna stick around and be doing this through all these years, that's amazing. It's amazing. Anyone who's gonna get in there and do this, over 10 fights or whatever. It's a life. It's a body of work.
When you see there's other heavyweights on the card and you had been possibly matched up with one of them, did you keep like a an eye on that fight that night?
Oh, 100%. I mean, it was kind of hard to watch it too intently. It was right before my fight with Conor McKenna. It was right before my fight. So we were kind of like in the loading dock when they were fighting. They put you in like your own little area, like your own parpay area. And that's kind of where you're on deck. It kind of feels like you're on deck when you're playing baseball. So that's where I was. So I watched as much as I could, and I was impressed with him. But I'm not being disrespectful when I say I'm not Lewis Rumsey. He's not going to have that type of fight with me.
You think that Pat is going to bring a different type of challenge to you, though, than you've seen over these last four fights?
Not necessarily. I fought the champion in Texas and ABO champion in boxing in Texas. He's a real good fighter. I fought Juan Torres. It's one of my losses. 30 something professional boxing matches. And he was a decorated bare knuckle fighter when I fought him. So, you know, I fought Bobo O'Bannon. Bobo killed a guy in professional boxing. My first fight. So, I don't understand. I know how people, it's all about where you are now, what you're doing right now. And you can say, oh, I fought this guy and he did all this, and that was then and this is now. But that's true. But that was then and this is now. I'm quoting fights that I lost to great fighters. And now look at me. I've got a lot of steam. I've learned a lot of things. I've learned a lot
As
of.
as the steam and this momentum is starting to build, you look at this one with Pat, huge card, huge opportunity. Do you start thinking about bigger names, bigger fights, opportunities after this one?
I'm only thinking about him right now because he's the guy. I'm gonna be real with you. I respect you enough to tell you that I'm only focused on him right now. I know there's gonna be 100 opportunities right after I beat him, but for now, I gotta focus on that. That's all that I've been focused on.
With Pat having the experience across the board, MMA, some boxing in there, and only one bare knuckle, in your research, do you start to expand into those other sports to see what he looks like?
You know, uh, I watched footage of the fight that I saw live that I was at, and I fought right after. And obviously, I'm impressed. I know he's a heavy hitter. I know he's a talented fighter. I know he's a champion in mixed martial arts. Uh, so, yeah, it's going to be one for the fans. I know he's got stopping power. So do I. That's me keeping it real. It's in God's hands now. I'm putting the work. He put in the work. We'll see what happens. And uh, all respect on my part. I don't come out here to do anything but fight. That's it.
One that I haven't asked you before that came to me. What was the first tattoo?
My first tattoo. Uh, I don't even remember. It was so long ago. Hold on. I got a tattoo on my back, I think, when I was like 16 or 17. And it's like a little face, like a green man. It's like a little face. Like you see it on old Irish bars and stuff. Like it literally looks like Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. It's a little face. It's small, it's subtle. And I think that was my first tattoo. I was just a kid. I didn't want anything too crazy, but I don't know. It means whatever you. I think it means whatever you want, but like life and regeneration, more or less, like it's a positive thing, like a face made of leaves. You see it on old Irish bars and stuff like that. I don't know what I loved about that so much, but I just thought it was so cool.
What has it been about tattoos that we've seen you
Yeah,
get them everywhere?
yeah, it was the Green Man Tattoo Studio. That's what it's called. So it was in Connecticut. I was like 16 or 17. Got a waiver signed by my dad, and I got that little tiny tattoo. You know what I mean? I was in high school. Um, I don't know, man. I haven't got tattooed in a long time now. It's been a while. And the reason I don't do it is because it hurts. To be honest with you, that little needle, it's just annoying to me now. So, more or less, I'm getting older. I could care less about that stuff, you know. And I already know I'm ugly, so I ain't gonna try and I don't have to do anything extra.
Last ink question. Do you have a favorite or one that has a special meaning to you?
I would say my shark. You know what I mean? A kid I went to preschool with did this on me. He owns a tattoo studio. He's doing real well. Owns a huge tattoo studio. Um, Max Hill. He owns a great tattoo studio, and um, he did this in his apartment. Though I think I don't really remember. He's done a lot of my tats over the years, like the best ones I have. But like he did this shark on me during like right before I went pro, I think, and during the corona, he did that in his apartment. I'm pretty sure with the money sign, and then I went back to him after my first fight with Bobo for the BKFC. That was always my dream to be like get that bare knuckle fighting championship. I'm the shark, and then I make money with the shark. You know what I mean? But money causes a lot of pain. That's what the flames are about. So it's like it's not everything that people think. You know what I mean?
It's a lot deeper. There's a lot more going on there.
Yeah, and that's why I don't get them. I'm not really getting any more tattoos. I don't think because it's just pain. I'm already. I don't. I'm old, man. I don't care anymore. I'm 33. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Get some tattoos and show them off on Instagram like one of these suckers? I'm good with it.
I was just well, good to hear you're stopping. There was still space left on the face, and we've seen that's become a big trend out there recently.
I don't like face tattoos. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like they got some little bit of bird poop on their head, or I always think that I'm like, 'cause I can never tell what it is. If I see facial tattoos from across a restaurant, it just looks like a little bit of dog shit, or they got some food on their mouth or something. I don't know. I think facial tattoos make you look like a scumbag. How's that?
I was like, they're just hard to read. You have to definitely get up on somebody to fully get the details.
I
Where
think
a
they look
bigger
great.
tattoo is easy
I
enough.
think they look great on a woman. How's that? I think facial tattoos look great on women. I think they look terrible on dudes, man. Like, just be you. You know what I'm saying? If you want to put on a mask, go buy a mask at a Halloween store. I'm
How
already
about
ugly. I'm already ugly as shit. So there ain't nothing. There ain't nothing that a facial tattoo is gonna do for me, but hurt my image. You know.
we got KnuckleMania 5 coming up? Biggest event again in bare knuckle history, and you get to be a part of it. What does that mean that you're carving out this pathway, that you're just being a part of these historic events one after another?
Well, it just means everything in the world to me. I put in a lot of work since I was a little kid. These are the things you dream about, fighting at these venues, being a part of these shows, and living this life. So I think it's a very individual journey. It's a journey that only I could feel the true specialness and nature of it because I have to keep it alive and knowing how special it is. Like when we have bad days, when we have bad moments, it's important to remember we don't have a bad life. You know, my dog died on January 2nd, and he was 12 years old. And what they say is true. You know, a dog is a man's best friend. Like, even my phone technology recognized who my best friend was because the caption came up a couple days ago. Best friends over the last like 3 years, and my dogs were in the pic. Those were my best friends. This is the phone recognized. So yeah, I lost my dog, and that broke my heart. It's hard, but you know, life goes on, and through pain, there's power. And I guess I just try to explain that to anybody who's going through something, if they're watching this, that I lost one of the most important things to me in the entire world, which was my dog King. and he was my best friend, and we watched every movie together. I'm talking 12 years of watching wrestling. So when the dog died, a little piece of me died, and that was like very recently. And I'm preparing for the biggest fight of my life. So instead of letting that death break me in half, he died right in front of me. Okay, um, I used it to train harder and to work harder in his name. Rest in peace to my dog on my shorts and on my banner. And I did this fight for the dog, so I have a way to honor his life. You know, he came into my life as carefree as he left. Like I came home from work one day, and my wife now she just like was taking care of the dog for a friend. They were trying to find a home for it, and I already had a female who's very friendly, Prada, who's 15, and she was this little puppy's in the crate. I'm like, what is this little dog? So he came into my life the same way he left out. He took a couple deep breaths, leaned back, and he died. And that's it. Little wiggle broke my heart. Um, yeah, that definitely that changed things, in the camp because now it's like, all right, I lost my best friend, and now I got to do a fight for him. So it means a lot to me to win this fight. I know I'm going to do a good job because I always train hard, but it definitely was hard. It's hard to wake up at 3 in the morning with that hole in your heart, like that same week, and drive 3.5 hours in the dark to Connecticut to my gym, train like an animal, and you don't want to do nothing. Feel like your whole heart's been ripped out of you, and you have to train. You know what though? You can do it. And you fucking drive back and you listen to some music and you start thinking about your dog. You're going back to your home where now there's only one dog who's sad and the other dog is dead, and you have to go home and you cry, you do whatever you have to do, and you get through it. But when you get to that other side, there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of power in that, getting through things. You don't really see it until you do it.
Wow. And my condolences about King. This one's definitely for him. Uh, the amount of strength that you have each time we have an interview, we uncover more and more of it. I'm so amazed by you.
Thank you. And likewise, you got a gift, man. I can only give these type of interviews from the heart with people who ask those type of questions, who have that type of energy. It's the energy, man.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, Zach. It's always great to get to talk to you. Everybody, BKFC KnuckleMania 5, January 25th on DAZN. This is easily must see TV. The whole thing is the main card. I can't wait for this. Zach Calmus, appreciate you so much.
I'm so grateful. Thank you.